Next, we have coming to the stage Peter Broderick. If you know, I don't know. Something that's very close to my heart is the matter of bereavement, death and dying, and it's something that I want to do a lot of work on in the future with regards to our community and how we cope with death, dying and bereavement. One of the next person who's coming on the stage is Peter Broderick, who owns the only in Yorkshire, the only black funeral directors in the whole of the north of Yorkshire. All right, so I want you to, north of England, sorry. So I do want you to put your hands together for Peter Broderick. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Well, here's the good news. I'm not going to sing or rap or do any form of entertainment, so that's the good news. The bad news is, for everyone, is that, unfortunately, whether you know it or not, we're all dying. This morning, we were one step closer to death than we were yesterday morning. Okay? So now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to give you a little bit of history about the business that I run, which is Gooding Funeral Services. The business was started in 2007 by my father-in-law, Hugh Gooding. He started the business because he was upset at how his own parents' funeral was conducted. He felt he wasn't listened to. He felt as though his parents were not recognizable in the casket that they lay in. He felt he could do a better job himself. So he decided that he would learn the trade, and he worked at night. He was an engineer by trade, and he learned the trade at night. He also went to business school, did a business degree. He did his diploma in funeral directing, and everyone thought he was crazy. He won a landmark settlement. He was in his engineering job. He was racially discriminated against, and he won a landmark settlement. And with the funds he gained from that, he opened up his own funeral parlour. He bought the premises that we're in today. He developed a reputation for excellence in the community because he wanted to provide families with a better service than he received himself. Sadly, he passed away in 2012, but he left a huge legacy behind him. My wife, his daughter, took the business on, along with her sister Gay and myself. We offer simple, traditional and bespoke funeral packages to suit all budgets. We are qualified funeral directors. We are affiliated with the National Association of Funeral Directors. We are also recommended by the Good Funeral Guide and also the Natural Death Centre. So we are qualified, okay? We work nationally. Last week we did a funeral in Manchester. We were in London a couple of weeks before that. We worked in Coventry, Nottingham, Huddersfield, Bradford. We work everywhere. We encourage people to start having the conversation about death, because it's something that's going to happen to every one of us, unfortunately, and we will all suffer bereavement at some point. Our parents, they already do it. They already start the conversation. Whose mum has ever said, "Me soon dead. I might not be here next Christmas." So they're planting seeds. They're planting the seed for us. They're telling us to plan for a time where they're not going to be here. They're telling us, they're talking to us if we would listen. So we encourage people to start having the conversation about death. Is there any doctors here? Anyone a doctor? Anyone working in a medical field? Has anyone ever seen a death certificate? Okay. Okay. Has anyone ever seen a cause of death that this person died from talking about death? No. So the good news is you're not going to die if you talk about death. You're not inviting death to you if you talk about it. So talk about it. Have a conversation with your family, with your friends. Write things down. Because the worst thing is when people come to my office having arguments about how their parent wants to be buried, having arguments about whether they want to be buried or cremated. That's the worst thing. Talk about it. Have a conversation. Get things in place. And then live your life. Okay? We, as I said, we are black owned. We are in the north of England. We're the only black owned funeral business in the north of England. I think the nearest is Birmingham to us. We want to provide opportunities for people who look like us to work in the industry because we're underrepresented. And we are spending a lot of money on our funerals with people who don't look like us, for the most part. And we want to try and change that. Okay, we have the services of a very, very talented embalmer. She is the only black female qualified embalmer in the whole of the UK. And she works with us. Okay? One of our best employees is a woman who walked in off the street and said, "Have you got any jobs going?" She was a former banker, and she walked in because she wanted to become an embalmer. And she's soon to be the second black female qualified embalmer in the UK. So we want to provide opportunities for us to work in this industry. I know a lot of people are afraid. I'm the most terrified person in the world when it comes to death and dying. I was terrified. I didn't want to work with my father-in-law. He kept trying to get me to work with him. I said, no, I can't do it. But he showed me the business, and he showed me how to work the business. And it's about people. It's about how you treat people. And we want to treat people with respect, treat with families with respect. Our logo is our family honoring yours, because we want to give people the honor and dignity in death that they deserve. People have lived rich lives, so they should have a rich outgoing. Okay? So the theme of Black History Month this year is about the empowerment of women. I'm the only man who works in my business. My wife, my sister-in-law, our trusted employee Sanjay, our embalmer, they're all female. We want more women to work in our industry because they've got an empathetic ear, yeah, and they've got a sensitivity. It's not just men's work, okay, and it's not just white men's work. So, what I would say to you is start having a conversation. If anybody wants to talk to me, wants information, come and get some information from me. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to give you some information. If anybody's interested in working in the industry and wants some advice, come and speak to me, because I want to see us more represented in the industry. Okay? So, thank you very much for your time, and I shall leave you. Okay?
Thank you. Cheers, Peter.